Alright, hey guys, and welcome back. Today I've got a interesting film review for you guys. So today it's gonna be about Toy Story 4. Now, let me just let you know that I am not the biggest Toy Story fan out there, but I have watched all the previous Toy Story films and they are very dear to my heart, as it would be for the most of you who grew up watching the Toy Story. So, straight off the bat, let me tell you that this film is a very emotional take on the Toy Story franchise. And the other films before did have plenty of emotion. The voice acting, the emotional representation on the toys figurines, their facial expression, and also the tone of the story, the music. Everything always adds up to the way Disney and Pixar try to engage the audience with a very warm and fuzzy tone sometimes in order to get you to either tear up or like feel for the character themselves. So they do a very good job at that in this film, and if you can really feel it for the most part. It's very warm. The characters are very realistic, believable. The music is great. But one thing really stood out to me in this film, which is the animation. My God, the animation in this film is, I think, by far the best animation I've seen in any animated film ever. This is literally Disney's Pixar bringing out their A++ game. And there's even a scene towards the end. It's like a funny scene where yeah, you see the little bunny-like toy in the bottom right. Yeah, he and his friend kind of have this laser eye comedy going on. No spoilers yet. So in that scene, that's basically just Pixar flexing at us, saying how amazing their animation can be, and if they made like a action film or a horror film or anything like that, it just shows how amazing their animation could make us believe how realistic the film is. And so yeah, that's the first perception about it. So beyond this, it's gonna be a spoiler review. So if you guys are gonna stick around, spoiler alert. And if this is your first time here, welcome, 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 and welcome. So without further ado, let me just tell you that those two dolls you're seeing there on the left, that's I think a throwback to that. What's that creepy doll movie? There's one creepy doll movie. I can't tend to. I tend to like not remember this particular one. Um, Let me get the name for you. It's got a nice. Is it Chappie or something? Chappie doll. Uh, Let me just confirm that. No, it's not Chappie. It's something like that. Anyway, the doll kind of reminds me of that particular um, doll from a movie. I think it's from Goosebumps. Yeah, Goosebumps. What is this name of this doll? Slappy. Ah, I see, it's Slappy. Okay, alright. So yeah, this doll it definitely looks like Slappy and reminds you about Slappy for the most part. So when you see these guys, it's clearly a throwback to the way Slappy is. And Toy Story is creepy in that sense. Sometimes they like to add the subtle horror elements, which I don't know if they scare children in general, but even as an adult, understanding the concept behind these things, it's kind of creepy when you think about it. All right. So from the top, from the get-go, this film is very narrow in the sense where it focuses on a very small group of characters. Basically, in this story, the story focuses around Woody trying to babysit a spork, the spork that you see on the right of Woody's standing figure, and that spork is a toy that the little girl in the film, Bonnie, creates. Is it Bonnie, her name? Hang on, let me just confirm this. Yeah, it's Bonnie. So Bonnie creates this Spock when she's in kindergarten. She just takes a bunch of stuff from the trash and she like kind of puts it together, and it comes to life. And then it has this tendency to want to jump into the trash because apparently it was made from trash. So it tries to like escape for the entirety of the first half of the film. And Woody basically dedicates his life to try to prevent the Spock from committing suicide, because he believes that the Spock is very important for Bonnie's emotional development, because Bonnie created the Spock. It's the first toy she created, and she's new to kindergarten, so it kind of like was her link to giving her some self-confidence in kindergarten. So taking away that link could, create a very bad start for her emotional childhood or well-being or and of that sorts. So in the beginning of the film, even before the Spock is created, the Spock's name is Forky, by the way. So even before Forky is created, Bonnie tends to play with all the other toys, including that sheriff girl, like the female cowgirl, and she stops playing with Woody. So Woody is the only toy that's not included among the rest of them, and it's kind of like the first time this happens to Woody, because Woody has always been a cherished toy throughout his life, thanks to Andy. So Woody kind of feels bad about this, and everyone feels bad for Woody. But Woody kind of tries to like put a poker face about things and say that no, he's fine. It's okay if she doesn't get played with all the time. But when this Spark shows up and turns out to be an asset to them, Woody dedicates himself to want to find some purpose, and so he decides to try to save um, the Spork so that he doesn't commit suicide. So Woody is babysitting the Spork for like the first half of the film. We don't get to see much from the other beloved characters, Mr. Potato, the dinosaurs, the I think it's the slingy guy. We don't get to see much of them. We see them like participating in very early scene where the slingy dog helps Woody to save like a car stuck in the drain. And the intensity that the film started with was really nice, and I thought they would carry it throughout the film. But unfortunately, that was not the case. The intensity pretty much ended right there, and it was very slow paced. From that point on. So just to be clear, all of the Toy Stories have this very slow paced like openings usually. They don't pick up that much. This one picked up like right at the get-go for the first 5 minutes, and then was slow immediately after that. So I thought it's okay. They were just like teasing us a bit of how the action will be. But to be honest, the action for the rest of the film was not as great as I thought it would be in comparison to that of Toy Story 3. And this film focuses more so on the emotional take of the characters, and it was mainly focused on Woody, that Forky, this what do you call this, shepherd girl that you see on the left hand side of Woody here. Her name is Bo Peep, and there's a little thing she has on her shoulder. I'm not very sure what's the name of that thing. Um, I don't know, Dolly or something. What's her name? Anyway, she's that little thingy that's on her shoulder. It's also a toy, and it also helps them out. So the story is mainly focused on Woody, Bo Peep. Buzz does one or two things, but it's not really significant. He just joins in the fun later on because obviously everyone likes him as a character. And then there's Forky, and then on the right hand side you see the antagonists, who are these two creepy things that apparently look like the Slappy doll. There's a bunch of them, by the way. It's like 5 or 6 of them. It's freaking creepy, and they all work for that little girl doll that you see down there. And that thing is called Gabby Gabby, and Gabby Gabby is a doll that was created, it was manufactured at the same time that Woody was, and apparently for Gabby Gabby it's stuck in a antique shop You can see on the top right there's an antique name in the corner, because most of the action in this film happens in this antique shop, which Gabby Gabby is living in. And Gabby Gabby finds out that Woody has a working voice box from his time, so it is possible for them to transplant his voice box into Gabby Gabby so that she becomes a useful toy, and then someone, you know, accepts her, because Gabby Gabby has never had someone to care for her as a toy, because she was defected um, upon purchase itself. So she was a rejected toy, and she was sent to an antique shop. So she never had a kid to be with. Um, so a lot of this film is stuck within this antique shop. And in Toy Story 3, a lot of them were stuck in a kindergarten-like scenario. And the reason I'm comparing these two films is because I feel that Toy Story 3 definitely set the benchmark for like all of the Toy Stories, because Toy Story 3 was truly an amazing film. And for me, uh, personally, I feel Toy Story 3 is better than this and better than the first two. It's definitely the best Toy Story film for me. As for those of you who like the first and second one, well, that's your opinion, and I respect that. If you guys like the fourth one the most, well, that's awesome. But for me, I feel that Toy Story 3 is definitely the best because of the scenes with, that happen, conspire within the kindergarten, the different sequences, the build up towards the action elements, the horror elements, the cheesy elements, the emotional elements, the backstory of every single character being so vital. Like in this, it was very simple. Gabby Gabby just wanted a voice box, and she kidnaps Forky for that, and she turns out to be like this really creepy like boss with all of these slappy dolls and everything. But in the end, she's not that great. She's just a little toy who's playing in like a tug of war about things. Whereas in Toy Story 3, that teddy bear like thing, right? He's actually really creepy because he's like an organized mob boss. He actually has like a large group of allies who works with him. He actually believes in a very powerful ideal. He dominates the presence of the kindergarten. In this one, Gabby Gabby is none of that, and the Slappy Dolls, of course, they're big. They're much bigger than Woody, so they're a bit scary in that sense. But in terms of their overall use, there's nothing creative about them. They're just a bunch of dolls that just run around and catch you. So the film lacked creativity in the action sequences. There was some scenes that was cool. They had this really fast-moving car that will run around, but that was mostly used within the park. There's like an amusement park right outside. I think you can see the Ferris wheel in the background, but I'm not sure if that's like part of the shop or something. But anyway, that's like a Ferris wheel, a carousel, some action sequences there, which was fun, but it didn't carry through. Like they could have used that vehicle to kind of have some fun moments within the antique store, but none of that happened. There are a lot more scenes of human beings in this film that are just walking around randomly, doing their own thing, and apparently everyone just ignores the toys in like the perfect time and place. I thought this movie may actually have like a unique breakthrough where someone sees the toys moving around, because it's not that the humans can't. Like in the first film, the boy that was torturing the toys definitely could see the toys moving around. And I thought that we would get something unique in this film where someone finally realizes the toys are alive. But no, it just stayed in a way where no one notices them running around the entire circus. Bunch of toys running around, and no one ever notices all of that. So it's kind of unfortunate that they couldn't build up on that idea. So Woody's character is very well developed in this sequence. From the guy who kind of loses his purpose in life, he tries to protect Forky, and then he loses Forky in the antique shop because Gabby Gabby kidnaps Forky, so that she tells Woody to trade his voice box for Forky, and then they try to come together in a team to save Forky. So Buzz Lightyear joins in, Bo Peep helps out. This bunny and his attached bunny friend also help out. The little thing on Bo Peep's shoulder helps. And one more new character that was added is Keanu Reeves's what do you call it? Duke Kaboom. Yeah, so it's nice to see Keanu Reeves' voice, a personality that you respect. And Duke Kaboom had one really spectacular scene where he, like, uses his bike and kind of races off this Ferris wheel to like crash into a hole, and then it helps the team get across this area. But besides that, there was nothing really very amazing about him because he didn't get much time with his character. A lot of the other characters were very much placed as side characters. They had like less than 5 to 10 minutes of significant scenes in the film. The rest of the team, like the dinosaurs, the Mr. Potatoes and the Mrs. Potatoes and the Slingy, all of them, none of them were used in this film well enough. They were all just left in like this van, and they just stayed there for the entirety of the film after that because they they were just never told to do anything. Like Woody soloed most of this film, Buzz soloed most of this film. Whoever does anything in this film is soloing. Like there's no coordination like that we had in Toy Story 3. In Toy Story 3, they actually all worked together. We got to see a part of every single toy coming up with their own unique ability, using their skills, their ideas, the planning, and the comedy was way more hilarious. The action was way better. Um, there was a kind of darker emotion to the villain in that film because the antagonist in that actually had a very dark past, whereas in this Gabby Gabby just had a very lonely past. So it was more like a just an emotional film overall, and there was nothing that heavy or intense to it. And you don't feel like you're going to lose anything because Gabby Gabby is not as threatening as the bear was. And the only thing that was creepy is just these Slappy dolls. But as I said, they don't really do much. They just look creepy. So yeah, there's that. And then it comes to the ending where, sorry, halfway through the film, actually, let me just get this point through. Woody finds out that Bo Peep has been living as an independent doll for several years. I don't know, 7 years or something like that. So Bo Peep basically lives around this fun fair where she just goes around collecting scraps, fixing dolls, making friends, and all these kind of things. And as for Woody, he's given a choice of whether he wants to go back to Bonnie and live as a doll who is not appreciated that much, or join Bo Peep and live with her because apparently he has a romantic feeling for Bo Peep. I mean, I don't know how this works among dolls, but he clearly loves her and they kiss and all that. So he wants to be with Bo Peep, and he's forced to like finally make a choice of whether he wants to be with her or go back with the rest of the team and be with the rest of the toys. So he decides finally to stay with Bonnie and sorry, to stay with Bo Peep, and Bonnie gets to be with Forky and the rest of the team and all that. And he passes his sheriff badge, the one you see right above the eye of the emotional here, passes the sheriff badge to the cowgirl, the other toy cowgirl, and then he kind of nominates her to be the sheriff of the toys from then on, and then he departs from Buzz Lightyear. And this was a scene that I didn't really enjoy. I expected Woody's departure with his best buddy Buzz Lightyear to be a little more intense, but they didn't really carry that scene through because Buzz didn't really do much in this film. He was very much the very blunt and dumb Buzz Lightyear we saw in the first and second film, and not so much of the matured one we saw in the third. Of course, they reset him in the third film and all that, all this comedy stuff. But Buzz definitely had a better character arc, and in this film, he had none of it. Like his character arc is completely flat. It was all about Woody, and the entire film basically puts Woody in like the center of it, and everything happens for him. So I don't know if this was like a send off to the character of Woody, but I definitely did not like his departure with Buzz Lightyear and the rest of his group. It was very quick. It was like not really explained. Like he didn't really tell his buddies that he wants to do this. He just suddenly wants to leave in the ending, and then they all just agree to it, and he joins Bo Peep to be a free toy sort of that just lives in the fun fair. And then Gabby Gabby apparently does get Woody's voice box transplanted to her in the agreement they had so that Woody can get Forky back. So Gabby Gabby now has Woody's voice box, and she finally gets accepted by a girl in the fun fair, and Gabby Gabby becomes a relevant doll. As for the what's this the Slappy dolls, I don't know what their purpose is after that. They never really explained it, so those things are just there. They're just as creepy as ever, and that's pretty much it. So for the most part, the story of this film was not that great. To be honest, it's a very simplistic story. It's a story that focuses very much on one character, and the development of the villain was not as good as the previous films, but the villain did have a reasonable character development. But as for the protagonist, you have so many wonderful toys, but you only show like a handful of them, so that's kind of sad for me. That's that. As for the music in this film, was beautiful music, emotionally very captivating music. I wish there was a little bit more fun to it, but I guess this was not really that kind of a film. So there was some intense music when they had action sequences. There was some slow music when they had emotional scenes, and that was wonderful already. The graphics in this film was top notch. Perfect score for its graphics. I have not seen anything quite as good for a while, and I tell you, they have really stepped up their game. I think the biggest breakthrough I saw, if I'm not mistaken, previously was Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo had quite a big breakthrough from like the films before it, and then after that, I can't remember which was that big of a breakthrough. I think Big Hero 6 was quite good, but I think there was something else that was better than that. But regardless, this one had probably the best graphics ever in any film. It looks so realistic, and as realistic as it looks, they don't plan to make it real. They just plan to make it look like a really good looking animation. That's what it was. And as for the character development, as I said, it's just a single character, so the emotional background and everything was there, but he just gets points for that. Voice acting was fantastic, needless to say. It relies more so on the dialogues. There were not that many famous dialogues. I think the most memorable ones were from Duke Kaboom, which is Keanu Reeves' character, which is just Kaboom, and instead of I can, he says I Canada, stuff like that. So yeah, and there were a lot of little, I believe, what do you call these? Easter eggs all throughout. I think you can probably look that up on like Screen Rant or something. They probably made that already. But whatever, they had the Easter eggs here and there, but Easter eggs that are not that, like they're not that obvious to those who are not very observant. Like you see that photo of the dogs on the top left, that's actually an Easter egg to like all these early like pictures of the gambling scenes and gambling films and stuff like that. And this was a thing that I found out because I was reading up on this. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have noticed that in the film anyway. So yeah, that's the gist of it. The action in the film was okay, not as good as the previous film, but it still was pretty good. It's pretty fun overall. The comedy sequences was, I would say, very mild and childish. Like they're funny to some extent. You will definitely laugh at some of them again and again, but they're not like mind-blowing laughing. And then, yeah, I mean, Buzz's character was pretty much not there. Bo Peep had a very big role in this, and she definitely performed quite well, I would say, to stick together with Woody. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm about to change this to my rating. Don't freak out once again. It's not all about ratings. Sometimes it is, but I don't think it's all about ratings. So let me just make this a clear one. Yeah, I think that's about it. All right. So I'm gonna rate Toy Story 4 a 6 out of 10. Now let me tell you, I rated Toy Story 3 a 8 out of 10. All right. 8 out of 10. And the reason I didn't give Toy Story 3 any higher was because I wished they showed us more, because they have so many things that they already show us, right? They have so many things that they can do. But unfortunately, because the film's run times are always an hour and a half, an hour 40, it kind of limits their like capacity to show us more. So you see, I understand that you can say that, oh, just because a film is short, it doesn't mean that it's going to be bad or it's going to be good. But a short film definitely limits the number of things that they can show to you, which kind of overall limits their capability to give you a holistic plot, character development, because certain things take time. Your ability to digest emotions on the screen takes time. The number of ideas you can show takes time. Number of music you can play, the number of characters you carry forward, the rewatchability of the film. All of these things sometimes rely really on the time taken in a film to draw out things. And the Toy Stories generally, because Disney films, they don't really get that maximum runtime love. So Toy Story 3 got an 8. I would have given it a 9 or a 10 if it ran for maybe another hour, and showed us a lot more things. But yeah, there's that. As for this film, I felt that it was very much focused on Woody and did not touch on the other characters that much, and the character development was not good overall. It was very much on Woody's character, and we kind of get the point. Like, everyone knows from the get-go that it's going to be about Woody redeeming himself, but it's just that for the entirety of the film. And even for Gabby Gabby's development, we thought it would like really be something scary to something like a change of heart. But no, Gabby Gabby is just like, give me your voice box and it's over, and she just walks off. There's no like twist, there's no turn, there's no nothing really creepy about it. They don't need to come and save Woody. Woody is safe from like the get-go. Everything is fine. There's no high stakes. The stakes are like not even there basically. So it's just, it gets a minus for me for that. And the second thing it loses out is the fact that this was a purely like a very emotionally focused film that it lacks in the other assets that Toy Story brought us in the first three films. The actions in the second film, the comedy in the third film, the intensity of the first film, because in the first film, like the boy comes and kidnaps the toys to like dismember them, and then the toys like take revenge. So those things are really important because they were showing you how powerful these toys actually are. And in this film, like, no one interacts with the toys even though they're just running around. There's no human connection as much. The toys do so many things in this film to try to help a little girl, but that's about it. They don't do anything further than that. Like in the third film, it was very intense because these toys were literally escaping what is like a prison, and that was really cool. It's like a prison break, and it was awesome. So yeah, that's about it. The story kind of fell short. The development of the characters fell short. So because of that, lack of creativity as well put into that, this film is 6 out of 10. So yeah, hope you guys understand it. If you guys are confused with why I rated it so low, or if you guys think that it's actually high, go ahead and read my link in the description. There will be a link that will take you to this film ratings and opinions that will give you a detailed breakdown of how I do things, so that you guys actually understand what my intentions are. And for me, this is an enjoyable film. I'm glad I watched it. Will I watch it again? I don't know. I might, maybe after a while. Will I watch Toy Story 3 again? Definitely, I'm going to watch Toy Story 3 again, maybe next week or something, because I really got to rewatch that film. It's a good film, definitely better than this film. And but one thing for sure, this film definitely wins it in the animation book. This is by far the best animation I've seen on screen, and it's amazing. The detail, the lighting, the background, everything felt so lively and so realistic. Yeah, I can't really put any complaints on it. So yeah, that's about it from me. I really wish that I watched it in like 3D. Don't know if there is one in 3D, or I didn't plan it, but I watched it in this normal 2D. But it was still amazing to see the animation nonetheless. So yeah, Forky's character was so-so. It's not really supposed to be that great of a character. It's just a filler, just to get Woody's plot going. So that's the gist of it. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, I read all of them. Try not to argue and learn to discuss. Learn to put your points out when you are trying to say why your idea is better. Don't just say, oh, it's better because I think it's better because I say so. No, it doesn't work that way, guys. Time and time again, I tell you this. So yeah, I shouldn't be the one educating you. Hopefully you guys learn to figure things out. So yeah, that's it from me. Adios.